What's up, folks? We're gonna do a little rock beating this evening. What I got here is a piece of ryholite. Comes out of North Carolina. Anyway, Lyman Clark was talking about fluting ryholite, making Clovis points, and I never tried to do one out of ryholite, so I'm gonna beat on this rock and see what we can do. See if it'll come out with a Clovis, or if it'll come out with a piece of junk, or what'll happen. Anyway, and I'll try to do a little diagnostics to show you along the way to kind of maybe help you out if you're missing out on something or having trouble with some certain areas or anything. This ball I knocked off. I got a big old chunk of, I don't know, that thing's about yay big outside, and I knocked this spall off. So anyway, I'm going to take and try to reduce this down to preform it first. And with Clovis points, when you get to the fluting part later on, the biggest thing is having convexity across this way and end to end. And so I call it four-way convexity. I don't know, other people might call it something else. But we got a little flat thick here and all. So anyway, like I do in all my diagnostic videos, I'm going to draw my center line for your reference, and I'm just going to look straight down on it and draw that line. Center line, in case you don't know what it means, is if your piece is 1 inch thick, your center line will be ½ inch, half the thickness of whatever the piece is. So you just draw it, as they say, on the center line, and that will get you a reference point. Alright, with this piece of rock here, we'll look at it and take a look at it, and you see right here we got a little dip. So if I was going to try to run a flute, that would jack that flute up all day long. There ain't no way the energy can go and then dive down and back up and go. So we got to address that when we're working this down, and that will come in the process of getting our convexity and getting down to our initial preform shape. And back here we got a little cortex. Got to get rid of that. And if you ever worked ryholite, you know it can be a beautiful stone or a real pain. Hopefully this will be nice, and it don't like to play nice with others though. So anyway, I'm gonna be using the initial reduction. I'm gonna be using my moose antler billet and possibly a small hammerstone if I hit a tough spot the antler can't grab. And so what I'm gonna do first is I'm gonna take this edge here, and you see how it's kind of let me see if I can get the camera. You see how it's sloped down to this real thin edge where the spall came off. So I need to thicken this edge, and it's all the way to this face, so I need to bring this edge up. So I'm going to take everything off this side from going down this way, and I'll start right there with that. And I'm just going to do, I tell you, I'll sit it on my leg and go a little faster. I'm just going to basically break that edge right off. I ain't worried about driving flakes or nothing. I'm literally just thickening up that real sharp edge, and so that I can get some better flakes later. And this one needs to go back that way. Alright, and if you can see, there's our center line. I'm going to turn the corner. Now you can see that edge is at center line. It's not all the way to one face or the other anymore. It's center line of the thickness of the piece. So, and now I can work off of that and actually take some better flakes. And what we're going to do now, if I find my magic ink pen again, this is that dip we were talking about right here. Goes all the way across. Well, up here is pretty good solid. So we're going to take some flakes here to drop this face, remove some material off this area to get it in line with this area to remove that dip. And I'm going to start that process right here and now. I got to find my hammerstone. Where did I put my hammerstone at? Hammerstone. Need to do a little braiding. And take my mousse, and I'm going to do about 3 flakes. There's, didn't quite get enough. This piece of ryholite's already looking like it don't want to play nice. But it don't want to make me mad, because then it'll have to be nice whether it wants to or not. Come off there. The flake went, but it didn't want to detach. There's that one. And I had to take them couple, dress my edge back, set up a platform and go back this way. There we go. Get that to lay back in there. Something like that. You can see where it hit it here, and it cleaned off all the way there. So that, see how I'm at, if you go widthways this way, the midline from crossways, that flake rolled right to center, and that's what you want to do early on like now, because that'll build that convexity. So if I take one from this side back and it rolls to here, then you get that nice convexity going that way. Alright, let's go down one more this way. I gotta trim it up a little bit and grind it a little bit. Alright. There's another one. Another one. Another one. Alright. I think we can get one more right there. Alright, so there's my passive flakes. Actually, 1, 2, 3, and 4. And so now I'll come from this side, set this side up, and go back that way and make them meet. I don't want them to meet at center, because then you'll build a hard ridge, like almost like a, if you looked on in, it'd be like a diamond, and you don't want a diamond cross section for a Clovis. You want a elliptical or curved, but kind of flat. So now I'll take and I braid this edge here back a little bit. And I heard it go. There it goes. More. One more. I gotta go this way one. Build me up a little platform. Alright. There we go. 1, 2. That didn't grab. Swung a little short on that one, so I have to take the hammer stone and set that back up. Got scared to hit the rock. Can't be scared to hit it. And 1, 2, 3, 4. Alright, so there's them flakes. Here's 1, 2, 3, and 4 right here. So now, if you look end on, you see that nice curve. You're starting low here and you're rising and curving back low here. So that's what we mean by convexity. You got a curvature to the face. And I haven't really done the back end yet, but if you look back here, you can see it too. It's a little flat spot right here, but when I get rid of that cortex, that'll be gone. And it's a little flat in here, but all that'll curve up as I take flakes from both sides and make them stop just a little beyond. So I'm going to go ahead and work a little bit and talk a little less and see what we can do. And something else too with the ryholite, it seems like to me, and working, I haven't worked a lot of it, but what I have worked if I take and swing my tool, especially if I'm using antler, a little bit slower, kind of almost letting it drop on the stone, I get a better flake result. Where if I swing it fast and hard, it tends to not do as well. I'm going to have to do this one with the hammer stone. That last bit of cortex on the end. Come on. There's one. There we go. I got rid of that cortex. Alright, so now I can take and set up from here, take this corner here off on a steep angle, and set me up a platform to shoot across here to blend this in with these previous scars up here. And we're going to try to do that now. Alright. Got a flake down my shirt. And there you go, it ran right into there. And I'm going to come right beside it, try to get another one. And that one stopped a little short. Got a little smidgen of a hinge, not bad. Because I can, there's that hinge right here. But I can come right here and shoot across there and take that off. And I still got to come from this corner and shoot up in here anyway. And that could actually roll it because the ridge runs, as you see, there's a ridge right here. It runs right along there to that hinge. So this flake here could actually travel and clean up all that for me. And I haven't done a lot of isolated platforms with ryholite. Might work better if I did. It's kind of a tough stone. Probably be a good idea to do isolated. And I'll try that right now. Let's isolate this one, see what happens. And isolating is almost like setting up the fluting nipple to do a Clovis point or something. Basically what you're doing, you see, here's my platform. If I can get the camera right. This is my platform right here. And all I did was take a flake. I first set up the whole edge on a bevel. Then I took a flake here and a flake here to isolate it. So the only thing I'm hitting is here. So all that energy will go into that small nipple, and the fracture should initiate faster and travel better. So I'm going to grind it good, not too good because I'm using antler, and we'll find out what happens. And there we go. I hit it a little shallow. I would like to go on deeper, a thicker flake, but I'll turn it around where you can see it better. There's my, let me flip it over this way. Oh, I dropped a piece. There's my platform, that nipple, and you can see the little fracture line. When I flip it over, you can see with the isolated platform, I can get that flake to move, that flake wrapped. Okay, so it wrapped like we wanted it to. Well, remember before, there's that hinge. Remember the hinge? I came from over here, the hinge is way over here, and I shot that, and like I told you, because of that ridge, it rolled and cleaned that hinge right on off there. And that flake traveled far, so it thinned us down and flattened the middle. Well, I don't want a flat middle. I need that curvature like this side has. So I got to take some steeper flakes to build that curvature, because this is going to be my base. This is where I'm going to shoot them flutes from later. So we got to build some convexity here. We got a dip, a big old nasty dip right here. So we'll actually have to lose some width, which we're going to do anyway, because it's going to be a Clovis. They're not that wide. And so I'll be setting up and take some flakes from here to go back with steep flakes here and here to bring all that in, and then bring this in and curve up this face. So I'm going to start working on that and talk less about it. And let's see. I'll start right here. all these flakes, these little flakes I'm taking now are just straightening. I'm straightening up my edge, getting it where I want it in line with the one side or the other of the center line. And once I get that addressed, I'll actually take some bigger flakes. And I need to do the same thing on this edge. See, those flakes are rolling across there because they already got the convexity. So they're really, you get your convexity, your flakes will travel and wrap the edge pretty good. There we go. Alright, now we'll take the hammerstone and knock this edge back, set us a platform, and try to work some magic. And I'm going to switch to a smaller antler antler billet. Let me find it here. We'll give this one a try. This is whitetail. And so the first one we need to do needs to be right here. Yeah. Well. Actually, this one. And you see, I'm not holding this up to drive a flake. I'm holding it, it's kind of hard to see with the glove, but I'm holding it turned down because I want them flakes to run short to build that center line and give me the curvature. So I'm holding it tipped down just a bit. Well, this lighter tool I might have to swing a little bit harder. I told you earlier with a bigger tool I swing slower and seems to work better. So anyway, get this series of flakes done, and then I'll show you about the convexity that I made. One more. There we go. Alright. So this was our first side. And looking straight on, you see that nice convexity going across there. And it's still flat at the back end. See, no convexity, just flat. So I still got to do some flakes here, short, steep, to build this up. And I'm working on that. This is the side here that I was just flaking, and before it was flat like that back, but now you can't really see it because of that knob. But anyway, go to this end, you can see how it's starting to get that center. See my center line right there where my flakes are stopping. So I'm getting that nice convexity to it. So anyway, we'll continue on, and just want to stop and show you that. And we got to do something. We'll do this flat now, and I'm going to trim a little bit just to bring my edge up, set up a platform. A little braiding. And go there. 1, 2. That one just don't want to give up. Let me reduce down to even smaller billet. This one's actually moose, but it's lighter weight and skinnier. So, boy. Alright, we'll come down here and take these and work our way back that way off the scars that these leave. There we go. Yeah, I can probably get. I'll tell you what, I'm going to lose this glove. It is making it difficult to see some of what I'm doing and feel what I'm doing. I know you're supposed to do safety and all that blah blah blah, but sometimes you got to be able to feel what you're doing. Okay. So back to over here. We were working on this flat. I lost my train of thought for a minute what I was doing. So I'm gonna trim this up some more. Just brush it back with a hammerstone. Rough it up a little bit. Same thing from the other side. I'm gonna take a. Oop, lost the hammerstone. I heard it roll. So I'm gonna take like there. Perfect. Come on. You got that spot, as everybody knows, there's always that spot in a piece of ryholite. So that spot don't want to cooperate, so I'm going to come from the opposite side and shoot them from that way. Come on. There we go. Perfect. It is really some ugly rock. Ryholite. You get some of that green stuff, that's some pretty sweet stuff, but this gray black stuff is just pretty dull. Alright, so now you still see the ink spot where that flat was right here, and you see the flat's now gone, and we have our convexity. So when we go to shoot a flute this way, we have that flat ridge line for that energy to follow up. And we'll do one more from, man, that spot is, you know how it is. It irritates the crap out of you. And found something here. I can use my glove. So I'm gonna see if I can. This is actually my notching tool, but so what's at hand. See if I can pick that edge a little bit, break some off of it. Because if I don't, it could be more of a problem down the road. And that ain't working too well. So we will find. This might work. A little rock, hammerstone, whatever you want to call it. Oh, got a chip. Alright. Now we got that. Let me go back and see if we can get some of this. I think it got too little spot there, it got too dull. I got a piece of it. Another piece. And don't want to give up. There we go. We got it in. And didn't hurt us too bad. Uglied it up a little bit, but not too awful bad. Perfect. Alright. I gotta be careful because trying to work this convexity in and shape up and all at the same time, you could easily get too narrow crossways. That's about, I don't know, close to the width of a Clovis already. I'm gonna trim it up a little bit this way and trim it down this way because, like I told you, you need convexity this way and this way. So that's what I'm doing right now. I'm trimming this base up just to build a little convexity the other way. Alright, so we'll go. I'll worry with that later. And it's the tip. You see my tip is squared and kind of blocky, chiselly looking. We'll do it. That'll come in on its own later. So I got to take some more flakes. If you look, doesn't look that bad looking at it this way, but if you look at it this way, see that twist? So I got to get that twist. Some of it will come out right here when flake out this tip. But see, that straightened it up a little bit right away. But I got a couple flakes back here I need to get, and so that'll be the next thing I work. And I don't know that I'll go all the way with the pressure flaking or punching, whatever you want to call it, all that stuff. I could, I suppose. But it's been a long, long day at work. And I don't know about y'all, but I'm kind of tired. So, but ever since Lyman talked to me, or we kind of commented back and forth on this post about fluting ryholite, it's been on my brain, and when something gets on my brain, that's always a bad thing, because I can't leave it alone until I go try to do whatever it is that's on my brain. And, so anyway, we got our base convexity, and see, I got as much curvature or convexity of both faces as I can there. Got a little bit more lengthwise on this side, and so now it's time to find the actual antler flaking time and set up. Well, I guess we can do some punch work first. I did say we would do some. So I got my little antler punch, which I probably could dress a little bit before we get into that. And I'm just going to grind it, rub it on this grinding thing here. Probably should have done this before I started shooting the video. I kind of do things on the fly. It's no set plan. It's alright. So, we get this, get our preform back, and I'll actually move around this way. And get this little piece of leather, this little extra padding, and let's see here. So I'll set this punch right here. Take a flake, take a flake. I don't know if you can see it, but the punch is standing straight up and down vertical, because I don't want them flakes to go too far. And the punch has a habit of shooting flakes far. So I'm just trying to shoot short ones, just to dress things up, clean it up, whatever you want to call it. Alright, just beating on a rock. We're not trying to put a man on the moon or anything. So if you ever found an authentic artifact, arrowhead of any kind, rarely will you see where they were real concerned with precision, as far as like you see a big old fat hinge, or sometimes even a stack where they hit it from several ways trying to get it and didn't, and they finally just said the heck with it and stuck it on a stick and used it anyway. And so we're not really trying to go for any kind of art exhibit stuff here, just a Clovis point with flutes in the end. And yep. Let me get rid of this big deer tongue before it's sliding down anyway. And right now I'm taking that burr off the tip I showed you earlier, and that's what I'm working in. So I get rid of the rest of that twist. See, now everything's in line, not twisted anymore. And we still don't have a tip. We're rounded up there, but that's okay. It'll come in over time. And man, this punch really works good on this ryholite. working really nice on this ryholite. But like I said, I got to be careful because if you, I don't know if you can see it, but that last flake I took, that punch drove that flake over to here, and I don't want to go past the center because I'm already flat enough. So I need to keep my convexity. I don't want to get flat. I want to keep them curved faces. And so anyway, we'll continue on, and on that braider. Well, I'll braid a whole lot using these antler tools because they need a little bit sharper edge to grab. 1, 2. Make sure that one hit a little bit more. There we go. 3. And see this line? See how it's darker here, lighter here? That's where I'm stopping my flakes, running right along there. So I keep that high ridge in the middle. It's flattish ridge, but it's still a curved ridge. You can see it. All right, and as you can see, I've been all the way down this side, so now I will come back and shoot them this way from that side. And 1, 2, 3. Like I said, keeping that punch vertical, almost actually pointing out away from the edge a little bit, because I want them flakes short and steep. And yes, sometimes I do hit my fingers, and yes, sometimes it do hurt. But no pain, no gain, ain't that what they say? So I've tried punches that are longer in length, and they did not seem to work as well. The longer they get, the less effective they seem to be. So I found this range here is about perfect. I don't know, 2 inches maybe, 1.5 inches, something. And actually, it seems like the shorter it gets, the even better it works as they wear down. Ow. That's a sign of a bad hit. Okay, that's that spot we were talking about again. And we're just going to go on the other side of it and work past it. We'll deal with it later. And let's go get our initial flakes done here, and we'll come back and address that later on. The show must go on, as the saying goes. And we will see right now. Slipped. There we go. Alright. Now we gotta go to this face, do the same thing all over again. And 1, 2, 3. And that third one made me see that I missed one over here, so let me flip it over and go get this one. If it'll go. There we go. Alright. So back to this face. And right there. Lost my spot where I left off at. That's 1, 2, 3. Come back this way. Going right there. Alright, you see this punch, I got a little divot or something. It's showing on the, oh no, it's just a dark unflaked surface spot there. It's not a hole or anything. And but as you see, you can see the flakes I'm doing with the punch, and from this side they come to here, from this side they come to here. But when you turn around and look, see that's not a very thick point, but you see that convexity that I was talking about. And excuse me, this convexity is what we want, because that's going to be our ridge for our energy to follow when we come from the end trying to shoot the flute. Alright, so, and see what else we need to do here. I'm going to trim just a little. Well, I'm just going to use the tip of my punch and just rub this edge down a little bit. Knock a little real sharp, thin stuff off. Yes. Alright, and then I'm going to shoot a flake right here. Just like that. One more right beside it, and one more on that side of it. And I'll do that. I'm just doing some shaping and contouring now, getting ready for the final fantasy, if you will. And trim. I keep putting down my braiders. This broke quartz cable. It'll work. And you just gotta knock the loose stuff off and rough it up a little bit. So then we'll go back and get my punch, and we'll go back right here and take that flake and go right off of that flake. Oh, I missed it. Second flake, and there we go. Alright, and I'm going to quit doing that because, as you see, I'm getting kind of narrow this way, crossways, so I think we're in good enough shape. We're still a little bit thick right in here, but I don't really want to take any more width off of it. So I'm going to go ahead and trim this back up and go ahead and set up the first flute nipple and shoot that first flute, and we will see what happens. And I hadn't done any pressure work, just the punch. And I'll be right back. Hold on just a second. Well, give me just a second. I'll be right back. I can't pause it for whatever reason. And I tell you what, we're going to stop there for now because I cannot figure out how to pause this thing. It don't allow me to pause. It just allows me to stop and start a whole new video. So I'm going to stop this one here, and we'll do the fluting in part 2 after I go take care of what I got.